Welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome. Happy Thursday, guys. Wonderful day to be saved in God's glory, guys. You know, just terrific. So how's everybody doing? Great. Fantastic. Any good news? Hey, Trump was here yesterday. That's the good news. Woo! He went to the milpas. Hey, he needs it. That's where the wall's going. So, anyways, welcome, guys. So just wonderful and great to be here again. And tonight, Orlando is here already. So he just came back from Detroit, Michigan. So he was doing a great work over there. So welcome, everyone. So my name is Rudy, and I'm a proud member of the Choose to Change mentoring program. The Choose to Change mentoring program is a self-supporting, Christian-based group sponsored by the Choose to Change Foundation. There's no fee to attend this class, but we do encourage donations from our members and anyone else who believes in what we do. The only requirements for membership is a sincere desire to change your life. Who's got that desire? You're in the right place. We are on a mission to restore families by inspiring, challenging, and equipping men to become better fathers, husbands, and leaders in our community. So if you're ready to change your life, then you're in the right place and in the right channel for those watching on TV. Through this program, you'll learn exactly where to start your life change journey, tools and resources to keep you going, and a support system to help you reach your goals. Again, who's got goals? You're in the right place then. Choose to Change mentoring program believes in 3 key principles of life. Number 1, we believe in the life-changing power of God through faith in Jesus Christ. Number 2, we believe that God has already done his part, and it's our responsibility to learn to do our part. And number 3, success or failure is a choice, and the choice is yours. So if you are ready, say, I am ready. Oh, awesome, guys. Good crowd tonight, guys. And like I said, our brother is back from Detroit, and he will be getting the pulpit in a little bit, guys. So I know he was, and no kids outside, please. Period. If you want to, period. That means period. No kids. Please, outside. And let's give our brother Orlando a hand as he takes the pulpit, guys.
All right, thank you, Rudy. Yeah, no, the thing is, so I don't know what happened, but I was told that we have to keep everybody inside. So no little kids, no middle-aged kids, and no big kids. Nobody outside, unless you're here or you're in the church, but you have to stay inside. Fair enough? Chihuahua, Diego, y tengo que regañar gente. No, man, thank you. Welcome, everybody. I want to thank you for being here tonight, man. I am tired. I took a nap, about 10 minutes, and it's been exciting for me, and the things that I do and the things I'm a part of, and I just want to thank everybody for being here, and I hope I can help you tonight. So what I want to talk about tonight is, before I get started, where is do I have a pin, a marker lot back there? How is everybody doing? Great. Let me ask you a question this evening. Where are you today? Where are you? Awesome. That's a good answer. Where are you? Did you know that was the first question that God asked man? Where are you? Where are you? What do I mean by that? Where are you in your life? In your marriage? In your career? in your mind. Where are you? Because the whole idea of Choose to Change is to help you move forward, to help keep going forward, to help change your life, to help you keep going to the top, which is the theme of this class today. Is, are you still going to the top? I asked CJ this morning. Wasn't it this morning? Are you sure? Man, it's a long. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning. I was in Michigan. And I was doing some revivals over there. Those of you that don't know, I'm an evangelist with our church. By the way, let me introduce myself. My name's Orlando. I'm the founder of this organization, the Choose to Change Foundation. And we are on a mission. What I do is I'm looking for men who would rise up and become men of God, men of courage, men of faith, men who would become fathers, husbands, and leaders in our society. One of the things that was on my heart this week, the last couple of weeks, as I travel, everywhere I go, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. What do I mean by that? Everywhere I go, I see broken people, twisted situations, bad marriages, people confused, drug addiction, alcoholism, pornography, people with no direction. Everywhere I go. And I guess, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older. Am I getting wiser? I don't know. But I'm so glad that I have direction, that I'm going somewhere. I'm trying to teach this to the teenagers. And I'm realizing, think about this. I was thinking about this for a minute. I don't know why I'm sharing all this, but I have a lot to say, so bear with me. What's the difference between a 35, 40-year-old man that has no direction and a 16-year-old that has no direction? What's the difference? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's kind of like somebody once told me, you know what, if you don't read, here's what they told me. If you don't read, you're just as bad off as the man that can't read. Whoa, it hit me. That makes so much sense to me. Did it help you? Did reading help you? Because I remember when you came in 5, 6, 7 years ago, you had a whole different attitude.
Yeah. I was trying to read it. Whatever came my way. I mean, I was reading, the good stuff and whatever,
But you were reading.
Yes, sir, I was reading.
Yeah, it helps. That's how you find ideas. That's how you find things. Things start popping into your mind. Reading is good. But today I want to welcome everybody that are watching us online. Thank you for watching us. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, please like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, and leave good comments. How about the Choose to Change Foundation? I want to read a scripture to you. Out of Matthew. Everything I teach here in this class is a process. It's all about this process of life. I was able to change my life because by accident, actually. A lot of what I learned was by accident because I was reading. And I put together this, I was trying to figure out, well, how do you change your life? The reason I'm sharing this is because I see a lot of new faces. So I'm going to share with you what I do here. In the Choose to Change Foundation, I believe that life change is a choice. That success is a choice. That having a great marriage is a choice. That having a great career is a choice. That being happy and joyful is a choice. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm telling you it's a choice. And that we have to choose success. That we have to choose to change. That we have to choose to be grateful. That we have to choose. We have to choose it. But I didn't know that. And I strive to teach that in here. Because we so desperately need help and we need direction. That's why we need God in our lives. But I want to read something to you out of Matthew, Matthew 5. I think it's Matthew 5. Matthew 5 or 6. And the reason I want to read it is because today the theme is, are you still going to the top? And I'm going to explain what that means. Why do I ask that question and where that phrase comes from? But a lot of what I teach comes from something called the Sermon on the Mount. Who's ever heard of the Sermon on the Mount? Who's ever heard of the Sermon on the Mount? The Sermon on the Mount is Matthew 5, 6, and 7. That's the Sermon on the Mount. It's Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. And Jesus is speaking. He's speaking to the people. He sat down, saw the disciples, and he started teaching them. And what he's teaching them in the Sermon on the Mount is everything about life and how life works. If you read it tonight, you're not going to understand it all, because it's a process of life that you have to learn to discern and understand what Jesus Christ is trying to teach us in this sermon, in this teaching that he's teaching. But at the end of the sermon, he says these last words about the man who built his house on the rock and the man who built his house on sand. So the question for you today is, are you building on sand or are you building on a rock? Because if you build on sand, right, CJ? What's going to happen? It's going to sink. If you build on sand, it's going to sink. So the question, are you building on sand? Let me read it for you. It's in Matthew 7. Listen to what Jesus said. After he said all these other things, he said a lot of things. This is at the end of his teachings. Then he said, therefore, whosoever hears these words of mine, if you hear them and you do them, right? I will liken you as a wise man who built his house on a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat the house. That gives you a little insight in the idea that the winds are going to come. Hard times are going to come, right? And if they haven't, don't worry, they're coming. For it was founded on a rock. It didn't fall. But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and do not do them, he'll be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. Who's ever built on sand before? I wound up in prison. I wound up in the streets. I wound up lonely. And I wound up wanting to kill my worthless self because I was building on the sand. And then the rain came, and the flood came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. And it fell, and great was its fall. Y luego dice, and so it was. When Jesus had ended these sayings, listen to what they said about Jesus. The people were astonished at his teachings, for he taught them as one having authority, and not like the scribes. I get that, like saying like somebody that's like somebody trying to help you lose weight that's big, that can't lose weight himself. But that guy that's real fit and he's trying to help you, I think you ought to listen to him, right? So I want to help you start building on a rock. This is the whole idea here. But are you still going to the top? So what do I mean by this? I did a class a while back, and I was talking about what does going to the top look like? What do I mean by that? Those shirts, right there, big Leon showing the shirt, I'm going to the top. I coined that phrase many years ago because when I was in prison, I read a book. I read a book that was called Over the Top. It was a book called Over the Top by Zig Ziglar. And in that book, that was the first time in my life that it occurred to me that I got a revelation that a man like me, that anybody could change their life. It was the first time that the seed was planted. I mean, I believed it. I wanted it. I really wanted to change my life. I had given my life to Jesus. I was back in prison. I was trying to believe that my life could be better. But man, it was really, really hard for me to believe that a loser like me could change his life. But when I read this book, man, it gave me all these ideas, and it gave me all these examples of people that had messed up their lives, like that came from poverty, that didn't have fathers, that were abused, just all kinds of people, and how they went from that and rose to the top. And it started giving me some hope. Wow, maybe it is possible. And I started saying, I'm going to the top. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to the top. And I just kept on saying it. Fíjate, one day told me, somebody started saying it, hey, I'm going to the top. And because I was saying it so much, because that's the kind of mentality that I wanted to have. I wanted to change my life. And so what it meant for me is that I'm going to keep on doing what I need to do to make my life better. That's all that means. So when I ask you, are you keep going to the top, CJ? Are you still going to the top? What I'm asking you, are you still doing the things that you need to do to move forward, to build a better life for you and your family, for you and your kids? Are you working on your mindset? Are you working on your spiritual life? Are you working on your finances? Are you working on yourself? That's what going to the top means. Now, what it looks like is different for all of us. Results. We'll talk about a little bit about that. Because one thing, the things that we did was when we talked about this in the last, in one of the meetings I had, is we talked about goal setting. Who did the goal setting? Chavarria? Who did the goal setting? Nobody? Maybe we need to do it. You did it too? You know, I had people think about what they were doing. You know, I started this class with, where are you today? Now let me ask you another question. Where do you want to go? Who's have never heard of goal setting? You've never heard that before. There's one. For good reason. She's 8. You've never heard of goal setting? Right, okay, and thank you for being honest. Any more honest people? Goal setting. When I first heard that, I didn't know what it meant. I said, goal setting? What do you mean goal setting? Goal setting, cálmate. Goal setting. All that meant was I had plans for the future. I write them down. You know what? One day I'm going to build my own business. I wrote it in prison. One day I'm going to be a better father. One day I'm going to be a better husband. And you write it down. And then you start learning how to modify that. But that's what goal setting is. You can make goals for marriage. You can make goals for, so let me give you some examples about what it means to keep going to the top. Here's some things to think about for you. Like where you're at today. What about in your marriage? What kind of things do you need to start doing to get a better marriage? How about bring flowers? Para eso le traje flowers a mi wife ahora. I did. But you know what I learned? I learned that if I just bring flowers more often, seriously, just because. Buy flowers just because. I didn't know that. Here's another one for you. Hey, marriage, aquí está para marriage, Te va. Say I love you more often. Serious. Listen, I don't know about you, but I you know. Era un burro yo. I thought, you married her and, ya sabes, I love you. No, you actually start working on a relationship with your wife. I really didn't know that, believe it or not. So if you're doing that, then you're moving, you're still going to the top. You're moving, you're doing something. Start listening more. Don't try to fix her, just listen. Right? Because you're not going to understand her, so don't even try it. They're twisted. Not well, no, I mean, we're twisted, we just don't understand. No, but you know, we think differently. I don't know if you knew that, guys. We think differently. Men and women think differently. Very differently. Okay, let's move on. What about money? Who wants to make more money? I knew that one would help spark up the conversation. Make more money. I remember I wanted to make more money. You know, so what do you have to do to make more money? Remember, we're talking about, this is how things that you can do, this is what going to the top looks like. You have to be working on some things in your life. That's what it means. You can't just say, I'm going to the top. You have to be working on some things. How about maybe you need to get a better job, right? But don't quit the one you have just because, just keep working until you get a better job. How about if you make more sales or make more calls? Just working at it more. Stop being lazy. Maybe you want to buy a house one day. Here's a big one for you. If you never bought a house before, I had never bought a house. I bought a house when I got out of prison. And I learned that you pay taxes. I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. Because everybody will talk about taxes, get taxes, get taxes. Dije, pues, ¿qué tantos taxes? Pues, I was just a loser drug addict. Didn't walk out till I was 40 years old in prison. I didn't know nothing about taxes. You pay taxes. Right, Chavarria? Hasta Chavarria sabía. Maybe you want to get at it. So all these things and more are part of the process of change. You start being responsible. But here's a good one for you. But what if your life is really messed up? And you have a hard time seeing a better future. Has anybody been there? Has anybody been there? You look at the mirror, you look in your life, and you don't see much hope. Or maybe you see it, but you really don't know if you could actually make it happen. Because sometimes it's hard to see. But this is where God comes in. Faith. And here's where you're going to have to start understanding that it will take time and effort to change your life, to make things better. Who can see that? Which is what this class is all about. Helping you navigate through the storms of life. We must believe in the impossible. Because a lot of people that walk through these doors in here, you got to remember who we work with. Who do we work with? Ex-cons, ex-drug addicts, people in recovery, and just anybody that's lost in this world. And for the reason I speak the way I speak is because I know for a fact how difficult it is to see hope for your future. You know, I use Chavarria a lot, I guess because he's right there in the center. But Chavarria, let me ask you a question. Did we help you see hope for your life? That's what we want to do. Of course, my famous question, if you want to change your life, right? Because if you don't want to change your life, nothing I'm saying doesn't matter. Pastor Stevens, who went through the revival? How many? Man, it was powerful stuff. He asked a question in one of the sermons. I think it was the first one on Sunday, because I was watching it after online. He asked, how do you handle failure? And then he asked a more powerful question. How do you handle the failure of others? And actually, that one got me. Because I have to learn also to deal with people that hurt me, right? That's something that I have to work on. Because I was the one doing the hurting. But what if someone hurt me? And he started talking about these things. He used a very interesting analogy about the junkyard. Who remembers that? Who saw it? He used the analogy of a junkyard. A junkyard is for junked cars, right? And it was amazing. I would listen to it. I said, man, this is awesome. This is where you take all the cars and they're no good no more. Only for parts. And that's how many people come to our church. That's how many people come into these rooms. And I said, man, that's a powerful analogy. Is that right? How we take cars to the junkyard that are no good anymore, only for parts. And he said that's how some of us come to the church. And I thought to myself, that's exactly how I came into the church. Or how I gave my life to Christ. My life was junk. So, when we get to those crossroads in life, I call it the crossroads. When you finally get to that point in your life, and you make that decision to change your life, and then you start realizing that changing your life is harder than you thought it would be. Is it, CJ? It's harder. I see it all the time. And I tell people all the time, the older you get, the harder it gets. And this is why I put together this formula. To help you understand that there is a way out. It's just going to take time. And by the way, these are the things, if you just start working on these things in your life, you start working on your faith, you start working on your mindset, you start working on your attitude, you start working on your habits, you start working on your lifestyle. And that's going to bring you to some results. Check this out. And if you go backwards, like I asked you, where are you now? Where are you today? So you can start right here. And you can figure out how you got here by going backwards. So think about where you're at right now. Think about it for a minute. Where you're at in your marriage, in your life. Think about it. Think about it. Really, I mean, just think about it. I'm going to take you somewhere here. So that's where you're at. Results. Let me tell you how you got here. Because of the lifestyle you had. The reason you had the lifestyle you had is because of the habits you had. And the reason you had the habits you have is because of the attitude that you have. And the reason you have the attitude that you have is because of what you believe. And that's how you wound up over here. Wherever that may be. Man, I still don't have something to write with. So let's close with what is the top for you? I want to have friends. I want to have a good marriage. What do some of you want? I want a house. Help me out. Debt free. What some of you want? Health. What else? How about some peace? How about some joy? How about some love? Has anybody ever put a list like this together? How's this one? How about some hope for the future? If you had those things, would you consider yourself successful? If you had these things? Because if you don't, you're probably selfish. And you don't care nobody else but yourself. It's called attitude. The things we talked about today, here's some things that you can work on. So when I ask you, are you still going to the top? I'm asking you, are you working on your life? So let me give you 3 things to help you how to keep going to the top. 3 things. What time is it? Good. 5 minutes go. Did anybody get anything out of this? Let me close with how to keep going to the top. Number 1, don't go back. Real simple, right? If you are a drug addict, don't go back. If you're an alcoholic, don't go back. If you smoked weed, don't go back. If you were a smoker and you're not smoking no more, don't go back. Because that's when you go back, that means a step forward, backwards, right? Don't go back. As long as you don't give in, if you don't go back, then you're still in the game. This is how you know that you're still moving forward. At least you're not going back. Secondly, keep coming. What do we tell people in church? Just keep coming. What do we tell people in here? Just keep coming. Because when you first come to church, when you first come to choose a change, when you first get to a point where you're in an environment where you can get help, you don't understand, right? You don't understand. You're so selfish and so full of yourself, have an attitude, bad habits, no faith, and you have no idea. So what we do, all we can do is just keep coming. And let me tell you why we tell you to keep coming. Because as you keep coming, at least we know there's hope that you'll hear something, that God will move in your heart, that maybe one thing I say, one thing a brother will say, one thing that a friend will say, something will trigger, and you start shifting, and you start making better decisions, and things start making sense. That's how it works. Just keep coming. When we see you here, okay, man, what did I write here? Oh, when we see you here, we know there's still hope for you. So I'm going to pray for you. Did you know I pray for you? I pray for Choose a Change, for the men in here. When we see you at church, keep coming to fellowships. Keep coming to Choose a Change. Keep coming to Bible studies. That, I tell people all the time, you're involved somewhere. I remember it was 5 o'clock somewhere all the time. Or nomás old school knows that? Everybody knows that one? It's out 5 o'clock somewhere. And never forget the first time they told me that. Drinking at 10 in the morning. Hey, bro, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. But you keep coming. Remember, I'm giving you 3 things, at least 3, to help you keep going to the top. Don't go back. Keep coming. And here's a kicker right here. Learn to give. Learn to give. And I have money at the bottom here. What am I talking about here? Learn to give of yourself. Because I don't know if you realize this, but we as humans are very selfish people. And I don't know if you knew this, but your core problem, I teach in here, is you. We're our worst enemies. Because estamos como el asadón. Nomás queremos. Learn to give. Listen to this. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop complaining. Stop the negative thoughts. Just go help somebody. Go help your neighbor. Go help someone with their car. Go help someone with their yard. Go help your mother. One of the key ingredients to fulfillment in life. Listen, I'm going to close with this. This is it right here. The reason I do what I do is because I learned many, many years ago in prison. They told me the best way to be selfish, if you're going to be selfish, be selfish with this. And I learned it from a motivational speaker. His name was Zig Ziglar. Here's what he said. He said, go help enough people get what they want, and you will always get what you want. What he was teaching is you just go help. Let me tell you how this works. You ever been in a job where this one guy is always working, he's like the best worker? That's Zapata. If you ever work with Zapata, he'll be the best worker. Because that's his work ethic. That's how he works. I know. He used to work for me. And he just work. He was the best worker. He was like, and what does that do? It just gives them more. People want to help more when they see that you're helping. It's called the law of sowing and reaping. Some call it karma. I guess. We call it the law of sowing and reaping. So guys, that's all I have tonight. How do you keep going to the top? Don't go back. Keep coming and give. Those are just a few things to help you keep going. So we're going to close with our donation. You know, guys, I'm excited about what we're going to be doing here in the next in these months. Hold on, Chavaria. Put it right there before you pass it around. We always Our church wants to help more people. This organization wants to help more people. And in order to help people, what does it take? Money. You know? And I'm excited to go when I go into the prison, because I want to be able to go in there full time. We want to be able to build a bigger platform for more men, more families to come in. And this is why we're trying to raise money. We have shirts for sale. We have caps for sale. I don't make money here, by the way. I don't get paid. We're just trying to raise money to keep moving forward with the Choose the Change Foundation. And this is why we do it. So we're going to pass around the donation bucket. If you're online, you can go online. And by the way, those of you that haven't seen that, you can just use your camera and it'll take you straight to the website. Does anybody have any questions? I didn't even open up for questions. Anybody have any comments? Does anybody know what day it is today? Today is my wife's birthday. She just turned 31. Again. Guys, so listen. Let me close with this comment. Oh, yes, sir.
Well, I was listening to what you were saying, but Brother Tim was the one that told me this. He says, Leon, how many times have you seen a car broken down and it's just on the side of the road and the guy's just sitting inside, or it's happened to you? And I said, well, it's happened to me. He says, and how many people stopped when you were just sitting in the car? I said, well, nobody. He says, but when you were pushing the car, how many people actually stopped to help you push the car?
There you go.
You know what I mean? So then to be somebody to help you, you got to be able to help yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's where that desire and that faith comes in, to be able to, you know, to want to help yourself. And then
Yep.
there'll be people that are going to help you.
Yeah.
To some.
And actually, this is how I started Choose the Change. Because here's how I started Choose the Change. Because I knew that I wasn't going to ask for anybody to help me. Because I knew I had messed up my life. I was a loser. And I said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give everything I have. I don't need nobody. I don't want nobody's help. And then I found out there's a lot of people like me. They were losers just like me. But if you just started doing the right thing, I would help you. Didn't I help you, Chef? Brother? Didn't I help you, Chavaria? Didn't we help you, Mark? Push you a little bit. Because when you're helping yourself, man, it's just like a snowball. People want to help you. Especially me. We want to keep helping. But yeah, that's how it works. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
You know how you say about helping? I know it was firsthand that, you know, you and your wife, you guys go out of your way to help, you know, individuals that used to be like us, and, you know, in general. And that was one thing that I appreciate, that when I saw that you were trying to help me, that it was new to me, and it was weird because I never had that help, because there was no desire for change. I was just going with the flow. Whatever life came at me, it just came at me, and I just had to adapt to it, and that was it. But I never understood that I could see more for my life. I could see a desire, and one of these things, like, that's the same desire, faith, attitude, habits, lifestyle. That's the same words that you use from the beginning when you started, and it's the same thing today. And that's something that, you know, I'm grateful to see that again, because it brings me back to remember that.
Well, I didn't come up with them, brother. They're
I
timeless
know.
principles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're in the Bible. Did you want to say something, brother? Yeah.
You know, what you talked about earlier, as far as when I first started here with you back, you know, when it was about to start, and we were doing little things together, and you would always tell me, pick up a book, read that, you know, because I remember everything that you taught me. I went against the grain, you know, if you understand what I'm trying to say, because I was
No me
like,
hiciste caso.
no, there we go. That was the bottom line, yes, sir, you know? Until I was back in prison again, I was like, oh, my God. So guess what? I looked down, and there's a book. Man, I'm going to read this whole book. I read that one. I read another one. Newspapers, magazines, whatever it took, I'm reading. I'm bettering myself. And then you're talking about how, you know, you look in the mirror and you kind of tell yourself about the whole, well, the mirrors in prison, it's kind of hard to see yourself to begin with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to get that, whatever it
That
is.
those trecolos mirrors are?
Yeah, you got to get the toothpaste and try to shine it up. Yeah, the big, you know. But, you know, I would be there in the morning time, you know, because I was tired of being a statistic.
Yeah.
That was the bottom line for me. I was just tired, sick and tired of it, man. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's the, you know, whole thing in prison, you know. And you were saying earlier how, you know, a big guy helped somebody else lose weight. Well, there's jailhouse lawyers that are trying to get you out of prison, and they're and they've been there for years. You know what I mean? So you're like, God, what's going on here? But anyway, but you know, and I'm, you know, now I'm focused and I'm seeing what's really going on, the big picture. I would
Amen.
see it. You know, get on that blue phone and my family and. Dad, remember you told me we were gonna climb the tree? All that. Hey, was Sue, man. That'll break a man for real. If it didn't break anybody, it broke me.
That's all it takes.
But-
That's all you need.
But yeah. So today, I'm going to the top.
There you go. Anybody else? Yeah? Well, guys, that's all we have today. The last thing we got to do is sing happy birthday. All right. So why don't we sing happy birthday? But in case you don't know, this is my wife, my beautiful wife over there. She's the queen. She's the queen today. So let's sing happy birthday to her. You have to look at where we're celebrating her birthday. Think about that, guys, for a minute. At the Choose to Change. That's insane. Out of control. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you. All right. Will you marry me again?
Thank you,
Here
everybody.
you go.
I always enjoy Choose to Change, and I always enjoy being in the prison because I love helping people. I love seeing lives changed. You know, for me and my husband, it's a passion. It's a passion we love. Seeing Maria and CJ here once again. This time for sure going turning over. We love you guys. Thank you.
Amen. All right, that's all we have, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching online. Please keep following us, like us on Facebook, YouTube, and all that good stuff. And we're having cake here. Ni modo, no están aquí. Bye.